He was talking that shit. Oh, sorry.
Hello,
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been eating this double for like an hour because I was doing an Instagram live with somebody, and like every time she started talking, I was like, so if I'm chowing down in between the interview, it's realness.
Thanks for the realness, of course. Love it. I just wanted to say I'm such a huge fan. Such a huge fan. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, thank you for having me. Honestly, like I right now is the best time to like get those like interviews in and shit. It's just like we got time. We ain't doing shit at home,
Yeah,
so.
no, excited, definitely, definitely. So, is there anything that's like off limits for you, or like that I cannot ask or whatever before we get started?
I'm a pretty open book, and if anything does come up, we'll make it dramatic.
Wow, get Jake Yonsei on us. So.
Not that. Bro, he pops into my lives all the time, and he's probably like, "This bitch is fucking boring," because he'd be leaving after like 2 seconds. He's like, "They ain't shit here for me."
I feel like there's so many queens and like queer people who are just tired of Jake Yonsei at the moment.
Yeah, people are like, my boyfriend hates him. My boyfriend is always like, "Please get to." If I ever like play one of the videos, because like sometimes I'm like, "Oh, what's happening today?" Like, da da da. And my boyfriend's like, "No, shit, fuck off." Or he'll just like not say nothing. He'll grab his phone and just leave the room, and I'm just like, "Okay."
So, Karos, let me ask you, let me just start. I have a few questions prepared. So what have you been getting up to in quarantine? Like, what have you been?
So, when the whole pandemic started, I was in Australia, and
Oh,
right, I was on tour, and I just finished doing a show in Australia, and I was like, bro, like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna get home. The place I was supposed to stay, my friend was like, love you, but you're coming out the country, and I'm scared, so you can't stay with me. But one of my managers has an apartment in West Hollywood, and she was staying at her place in Palm Springs. So she was like, y'all can stay there. So we went, we were chilling, and then the neighbor, like, let me tell you something. Americans have been acting fucking wild, and like they were paranoid because we were there, because I guess they knew that we were not really from there,
yeah.
and the neighbors like reported us, and like basically the landlord was like, well, we heard that people are there and they're causing disruptions, and then they're being loud and obnoxious, which was completely not true. um and it was crazy, and because and then he was like basically threatening my manager to sue her if
Oh,
we didn't leave, because apparently if we're there for more than 2 weeks, we're now tenants, and we didn't undergo like a background check. And so my manager was like, she lied and told them that we had been there since a certain day, which was like the day before he emailed her. And then we got to stay for 2 weeks, and then in April, in the beginning of April, we came back to New York, which is really scary.
yeah.
Uh, but like I'm a clean freak, and so is my boyfriend. So we literally were just like, I had two masks on. I had like a surgical mask and like one of those like N95 masks. Like we were like going, and I was like, I can't even breathe, but whatever
Oh
happened.
no, man, that's sounds
Yeah, it's
crazy.
been wild. And then it was like 2 weeks of like, do I have COVID or not? Uh, so like at this point, I'm just now going on my like second week of like actual calmness.
Yeah, shame, shame. So like, I have to ask, how did Drag Race prepare you for like your music career?
Well, I never thought about that. I feel like Drag Race made me have to deal with criticisms in a way that I never had to deal with before. And to be honest with you, for me, art has always been so personal to me. So I often have always felt like, oh, if people criticize my art, they're criticizing me as a person.
Yeah,
I think Drag Race kind of helped me disassociate that, and also helped me learn that people can critique me, but I'm always going to be my biggest critic, because
yeah.
that's just how I've always been as an artist. Um, Basically, people can't tell me things that I haven't told myself, and I think that that's where it's really like helped me. It's helped me sort of like align myself and not let myself I guess it's giving me a thicker skin. It's not, I
Yeah.
don't have the thickest skin in the world because honestly, I would go off for nothing. But it's compared to where I was before. I feel like personally, I have definitely had some emotional and mental growth in that department with realizing people's opinions don't really reflect who I am.
Yeah. And like coming off like you're, I think for me, like you're one of the few like drag race alumni who's come out and created an individual sound and not gone for that campy, like there's nothing wrong with the campy stereotypical post. Like I'm eliminated, here's my song. And then like which a few people have done. Like, would you ever go into that route, or did you at the time, did you think of going and making that song? Or
No, I've been a I think I've been writing music for like at this point like 13 years. Um, I definitely just spit a piece of food out. I hope that we got that. Um, I've been writing music for 13 years. And honestly, that's just not my thing. I don't really like club music. I don't like dance music. It's also like kind of like why I don't like the gay club. I like hip hop. I like soul. I like R&B, and I like rock. Like, um, so my taste in music doesn't really align with that. So like, it was never really a thought. But my first project and my feelings, I definitely wanted to fuse a little bit of that aesthetic with what I was doing to make it more sellable to my fans at the time. But it was the only time I actually did that because after that, I just was like, I'm gonna do my own thing. Um, I personally don't like the campy the campy stuff. Like it has its own genre. It's to me, it's not my it's just not my thing.
yeah, yeah. And like speaking about like your first project, like you had such like a massive difference between like In My Feelings and Box Office. Like what inspired that sort of like change in sound? Because you've already like touched on a bit like you trying to appease the
Yeah, so In My Feelings was really like I just got off of All Stars and I was like, you know what? There's this like whole bubblegum poppy kind of aesthetic thing going on, and I was like, let me just like channel that a little bit more into the whole aesthetic and the development of the project, even in the music videos. Like it was very centered on where I was at that time. And Box Office was more about, well, the thing about Box Office was there was a whole theme behind it, and Box Office was supposed to be me giving my listeners and my audience a ticket to like come see my show, which was just, it was me allowing people to come into like my life, but like my real life.
yeah.
And it was like, you know, when you go to the movies, you may like what you see, you may not like what you see, but you still bought the ticket. And yeah, it was me allowing people to experience me as a person. And you know, on the first day, we had accumulated about it was over 100,000 streams on the project,
Hectic, yeah.
and I was really proud of that. But then, like, it was like very mixed reviews. It was amazing reviews from press. It was amazing reviews from music outlets, and then it was weird reviews from like drag race fans. That's where it really started to become like kind of like a fight. Where people were putting it down. They were like, what the fuck is this shit? This is bullshit. Like, this is not, you know, people were putting it down. They were like, this is not real music. And I faced the same criticism from other queer artists too, because there's like a queer rap group on Facebook. And one of my friends posted like that my album had topped the iTunes charts. And he
Yeah.
was like, wow, look, Aja's project, you know, blah, blah, blah. And some of the queer rappers um, we're like, well, that's not real music. That's drag race music. Like, that's not real. Like, she didn't really have to work hard for that. Like, it was very that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, interesting. It's just like it was very weird for me. I honestly did not expect so much of a dichotomy in the reaction. I thought it was no tea. I thought it was just gonna be like I released it and it was just gonna be lit. And I was just like, okay.
Oh no, that's crazy. And like, you know, like I literally fell in love with the project. I think like 2 years ago, a year ago. We like I was just like listening to it. And I was like I think what's it, Anarchy, like Tutankhamun, like all those songs, like bangers on the like the trap, like on the song. Like, and you have such like an individual like sound, because you have like this colorful production, like that's sometimes a little bit colorful, but you still go in like hard with like heavy bass, like all of that. Like, how do you come up with like, how do you go about creating a song, like your creative process?
So when I made Box Office, it was really just I had a theme, and then I was like, let me find the sounds that match these themes. Let me find the sounds that match these movies that I'm trying to emulate and how these movies relate to my life. Like, for example, Breakfast at Tiffany's. I was like, okay, let me find a beat that sounds like Breakfast at Tiffany's to me.
Yeah.
Now, who can I put on this track that will be the envision of what I wanted? The theme of Breakfast at Tiffany's for me was, it was all about, well, like if you watch Breakfast at Tiffany's with like Audrey Hepburn, girl, there was not one Black person in that movie. There was not one person of color in that movie. It was all about, this is Breakfast at Tiffany's, but like the Black version. This is the Breakfast at Tiffany's, but like with like a perspective that we can follow. And it was all about the success of people of color, and that's why, you know, that's why we're talking mass shit on that track.
Yeah.
It's a flex. Like, it was just a straight up flex, but that's how it worked for me. It was just like taking the components to make the vision I had come to life.
Yeah. And like you had some mad collaborations on that track, like Rico Nasty, Cupcake, Shea Coulee, like all these like artists are so amazing. Like, which was your favorite, and like who would you like to collaborate with more in the future?
My favorite collab on the album, I thought the best guest verse on my album was actually from Shiloh on Jacqueline Hyde.
Oh yes, no, definitely.
Went so hard on that. But the most popular one was Cupcake's verse. I really liked it. But I would actually like to do another song with like Rico Nasty.
Yeah, no.
I'm obsessed with her. And I would really like to like I was like sitting down. I was like, yo, if I could remake the album, I would have put Rico in a different song. And I don't know why I didn't think about that at the time, but I wanted to put her on something like Monster Jam. I think she would have like, just like been for her, like, bam.
That would have popped off, because I fucking love Monster Jam. Sorry. Sorry, I've literally just been going off and freestyling, so I've lost my place.
No, you're cool.
Whatever else? Who would you like to collaborate like in the future besides like the artists that you've?
So right now, I'm working on my second studio album. I've been working on it for 11 months.
Yeah.
And I'm actually releasing it as a solo album. There's only gonna be one feature on it, and it's actually gonna be my boyfriend. But I'm gonna re-release the project maybe 6 or 7 months after I release it, and it's gonna be a feature album. So it's gonna be the entire album with features.
That's really cool.
So I have my eyes set on a few people. In particular, I really want to collaborate with, there's this girl group named Oshun.
Oh, yeah.
I met them at my god sister's, her Ocha initiation. One of the girls was there, and then like, cause they were cool, and then they both came, and then I was like, whoa, I know y'all, and they were like, we know you, and then we kind of like hit it off, and I was like, shit, I hit them up, and I was like, you know, I'm working on this track for my album, and they were like, send over the track. So that might be a thing. Another person I'm interested in working on with my project that I sent a track to a few months ago, Princess Nokia.
Oh, that's.
I was just jamming out to her new project the other day. For me, I always wait like 2 or 3 months after something comes out until I totally sit down, and I'm like, okay, bam. And I was listening to her album, and her new album, because she came out with like these 2 projects.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Good and a Bad Side or something like that.
Yeah.
And she has this song on the bad side called Gross, and it had a music video, and I'm like obsessed. Like, she's like, there's just this part where she's like, yeah, bitch, I'm gross. And I was like, ooh, okay. I hit her up, and I was like, bro, you fucking killed that. And she was like, yeah, I was carrying.
So like earlier on, you were talking about your the genres of music that you listen to. Like, who inspires your sound and your craft?
For me, my biggest inspirations are Nicki Minaj. I'm 1000% a Barb. I love Nicki Minaj, but in particular, her pink print era.
Oh
That is
yeah.
the sound that speaks to me the most. I was saying this. People were mad because I was like, I'm not a big fan of the Roman Reloaded era. I don't like the niche of rapping over dance music. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a thing that all queer rappers like to do. Not all. Let me not group all queer rappers, but a lot of queer rappers can only do that sound. And I don't know, sometimes in the queer community, in my opinion, it can get played out. And it's just like, you have other artists who have sort of like culture vultured it and turned it into
Yeah.
something, and then, try to pass it off as their own flows. But to me, the originator of that style was Zebra Cats. Like Zebra Cats, like, and people don't really talk about him anymore, but he really came out, and he was the one who incorporated that ballroom flow into rap. And
Yeah.
I this and that and that and a boo that to the tat. Like he was
Yeah.
the one who did that. And I don't know. Um, I'm over that. Like people keep trying to make it happen over and over again because he was like the original. But he is also one of my inspirations. I love Zebra Cats.
Yeah.
Tyler the Creator.
Oh yeah.
I love Tyler the Creator. Uh, my obvious. I grew up in Brooklyn, so I listen to a lot of Jay-Z, Biggie. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my newest obsession too is Doja Cat. Like, I
Of
love
course.
Doja
Yeah.
Cat. Um, yeah, I have a lot of different inspirations, but those are mostly my inspirations. And I think I've also recently added on, like in a weird way, like Billie Eilish. She plays a little inspo on my upcoming album as well. So
Yeah, because I saw a few of your tweets saying that like you were going to be singing a lot more on your album. Like, what direction are you going for your next album?
damn, I don't know how to explain it. It's like
Like minimal spoilers, just a tease.
so the album is called Crown. And I don't know how to explain it. The entire base of the album is based on my Yoruba practice.
Yeah.
And what I did was I had these drummers and singers, and they brought shekarays to the studio,
Hectic,
and they
yeah.
played an entire drumming to my Crown of Oshun. And they sung to 10 different Orisha. And then I took all the stems of those and sent them to 10 different producers and had them turn them into beats.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then I sent all the drumming to somebody to remix the drummings. So every single song is going to have a hint of the drummings and the singings and the samples. And I don't know how to explain it. It's just going to be so different. It's going to definitely have like an undertone of Afro soul, but I'm doing different languages because in it, I will be rapping and singing in English, Spanish, Portuguese, Nigerian, Yoruba, and
Oh.
it's just gonna be so. It's like definitely, it's gonna be so stupid. Like I'm like so excited.
This sounds incredible. Like I'm so excited, like already. So where do you see yourself like in 10 years? Like just to throw it out there. Like what do you want to do?
Honestly, I just want to like continue to work on my craft. For me, this is not about like fame or money. I would love to stably take care of myself on my music. Um, but I'm I don't know, I'm open. I don't like to plan too ahead,
Yeah.
but I guess I would like to still be doing what I'm doing. I would still like to be doing music. I still would like to be making statements. I still would like to, you know, I would like to reinvent myself and sort of become like a fashion icon again. Um, I'm really, in terms of like my aesthetic, I'm really just kind of like trying to go down more of a Prince vibe, like more of a Prince
Oh,
alleyway, but
yeah.
like a little more feminine, but like I don't know. That's like the vibe I'm ultimately going for, like sort of like androgynous, I don't know. For me, I've been having the whole fight with labels forever, and I'm just like, I'm just want to be me. I just want to be
Yeah,
me, and I want to do that. So in 10 years, I hope that I can be still doing my music, presenting how I want to present. And I hope that eventually people stop sleeping on it and give it a listen. Because
definitely.
there's a lot of people who won't listen to it because they're like, it's drag. It's not real music. And I've had a lot of shows where people are like, when I heard you came out with music, I didn't listen to it because I just thought it was gonna be bad. So I just was like, oh, it's bad. It's gonna suck. And when I heard you doing music here tonight, I was like, ugh. They're like, oh, but when you played, I was like, oh my God, like I didn't expect this. And then
Yeah.
now I want to go listen to it. And I'm like, well, work.
So like you mentioned, you wanted to be like a fashion icon, like because I remember when I was watching season 9, when I saw you come out in that Comme des Garçons, Lady Gaga look, I literally like my jaw dropped to the floor because I'm such a huge fan of like keeping up. Like, who are your fashion idols and like icons?
Oh my God. Uh, I love, if I had to describe myself like in designers, like I love Dior, Alexander McQueen. My biggest inspiration is Vivienne Westwood
Oh,
and a little bit of Balmain.
yeah,
I love very high fashion, but very punk. Like I love
yeah.
if I could wear like tartan forever, I would. Tartan, rip tartan with just safety pins, like pirate boots, like bitch, that would be it. But I also love like a softer Dior, like silhouette. Um, I would love to just incorporate all these different like types of like fashions into what I do. But like I was saying, I do want to go for more of a neutralized gender look.
Yeah,
I don't forever want to rely on just um, my feminism or my masculinity. I kind of just want to mash it together.
yeah, definitely. Um, so uh, like the Drag Race fandom, like since they have like a few of us have followed or learned about you through um Drag Race and stuff, like what are your favorite parts about that, and like what's your least favorite part about?
So my favorite part about it is that a lot of people don't realize Drag Race fans are not really like your fans. If you get like a Venn diagram, and let's say one side is just Drag Race fans, and these are people who are just fans of Drag Race, and then one side is people who are fans of you, and only you. Then you have the middle. The middle is where a lot of people will fall, where they're fans of you and Drag Race. But the cool part is you take that platform and you get people to move over to this side where whether or not they continue to like Drag Race or not, they'll always be your fan and not just fans of the show. But you have to also realize there will be people who will never cross over to actually being wanting to know you or like wanting to know your art. They will only know what they saw of you on Drag Race, and that's all they will ever care about. So for me, the good part is knowing that I have accumulated a pretty decent sized fan base that is people who just appreciate me and my art and me as a person. And I've also like through my music accumulated another fan base who's very intersectional because I get a lot of like punk queers. I get a lot of like black queers, Middle Eastern queers, like there are these communities that are not really represented on Drag Race as much, and if they are, sometimes a lot of the queens don't really exclaim them or be like, I'm sticking up for this. Like, there's a lot of times you don't really see like the white queens being like, oh my God, I love my black fans. Like, that's something that like the queens of color will do, but like people don't realize that there are those intersectional people who watch the show. So
Yeah,
I say, you know what? Especially with the type of music I make, doesn't really appeal to every white person. And I've have received that critique before, where my manager's trying to book me in a place, and they're like, "Well, we don't really our clientele doesn't listen to that type of music, or
yeah.
we don't want to attract the wrong crowd." And we all know what that
Uh,
means.
we all know what that means.
Yeah. So you know, I'm running on with it. But the positive side is accumulating those fans and knowing that they trust in me and I trust in them. And I guess the negative side is no, you having to deal with the fact that there are people who will only see you on the show and that's all they will ever see and think of you. Um, it's not the negative part completely because they still know you and they still
Yeah,
acknowledge you. But the negative part is when they find out you're more than just that and they dismiss you. And they're just like, no. And I think that's what's sad, because I feel like that there's a lot of people on the show who are more talented or just more than the character that they have been given.
Oh yeah,
And,
definitely.
unfortunately, I feel like people will not acknowledge that.
Yeah. And have you been watching this season of Drag Race that's been on? Or
I've been trying to keep up with it. My boyfriend hates the show, so he's like, he's like, turn this shit off, and like, we're like, okay, whatever. He loves drag. I think he just doesn't like Drag Race.
yeah,
Uh,
there's lots of like camps of people who like love drag and like hate Drag Race because of like, I mean, as Jasmine Master says, some of them think that RuPaul's Drag Race done fucked up drag.
I mean, it did,
Um,
but
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah, but
um, but yes, I've been keeping up with it as much as I can. For the most part, I've mostly seen only the runways and like who goes home, because girl, that's the only part that really matters.
yeah, and do you have any favorites that are coming from that?
Oh, Jada.
Oh,
I've
period.
been Team Jada since the beginning. I'm obsessed with Jada. Like when I found out she was on the season, before I found out anybody else was on, I was like, she won. Like that's it. Even if she doesn't win, she won.
Yeah, no, definitely. So this is going to be coming out like during Pride Month. So I have to ask, like, what does Pride sort of mean to you?
Um, to me, pride means control. Pride means you're in control of your narrative, you're in control of your life, and you're in healthy control. Meaning, you're not forcing it. You're just being you. You're just doing you. And having pride, like in the healthy way, means that you can control your ego. It means that you can open up and be humble. And to me, that's what pride is. A day where we can all be proud, not just for ourselves, but of each other. And I think that that's the part that people don't ever talk about. People are always talking about like, I'm just proud. I'm proud. Yeah, bitch, we know you're proud. Let's be proud of each other too. Like, we're this is a fight that a lot of us have had to do together. And so many people in the community are somehow still just yet so far apart. So I think it's important to capitalize on the unity aspect, and that's why to me, pride is control. It's controlling yourself, your narrative, and being proud of others.
Yeah, so we always have the House of Aja, who I sort of love for how outspoken all of you guys seem to be, and like, how did that like come about? And like, are you guys still like, even though like you have people in LA and like Dahlia's in LA and everything?
So the House of Aja hasn't existed for like 7 or 8 months now, but it came about like it was actually like supposed to be like a thing to demean us. And before I was on Drag Race, people every time like one of my friends would get on stage, it'd be like, Jolly from the House of Aja. Like it was basically like people being shady, trying to say that they were living in my shadow.
Yeah.
And we took it and we capitalized it, and we were like, okay, well, we're gonna tour with this. And that's what we did. We made money off of it. We sold shirts, we did everything you could possibly imagine, and we fucking branded it. And those bitches who said that shit, they was there like, oh, okay. No, but I think we all just have sort of everybody who was in the original House of Aja, which was me, Momo Shade, Candy Muse, Janelle number 5, and Dahlia Sin. We are all just we're all people of color, kind of minus Janelle. Janelle's Puerto Rican, but she's like, girl, she's like the color of my countertop. But nonetheless, she has that Puerto Rican edge. She literally acts like a Puerto Rican woman. Like I'm talking about like the old Puerto Rican woman. And if you've never dealt with an old Puerto Rican woman, then girl, crazy. We're all just so outspoken. We all have known each other for so long. And if they don't know each other for that long, I've known each of them for at least like 10 years already. So it's like, we stick up for ourselves. We defend each other. And I think that one thing that's cool about it is that no matter what happens between any of us, we will be there to like defend each other. What's happened now is Momo Shade has quit drag, and like there was like an altercation with her and like the rest of the house, which, girl, I don't even know what happened with that, but it's a mess. So Momo's doing her own thing. Momo is happy. She's living with her boyfriend. They've been together like 4 years, 5 years. I don't even know how long. and she's living her white woman fantasy. She's working. Last time I checked, she was working um, for like some high designer brand makeup line and was like doing all this shit. Like it was probably like YSL or like some shit like that. She's like killing it. And Candy, Janelle, and Dahlia have formed the Dollhouse, and what happened there was that, you know, they wanted to kind of like tour together and do these like big drag shows and events, and me not really doing drag or wanting to do drag and focus more on my music and like, you know, myself, I was like, you know, I don't really think it's gonna work, and they didn't think it was gonna work, and it's not that we didn't think it was gonna work, it just made sense that they did their own thing, and I did my own thing. And I mean, I support everyone, and I hope everyone does well. But I hope that they listen to the advice that I have given them and they move forward with it. For me, it's also never been about like drag daughters. I feel like it's more of like, those are my like gay children. Like they're like, I do come from like the ballroom scene, and like that's just kind of how things work. It's kind of like you have gay children. You have people who, whenever they've needed help, they can come to me or whatever. With the exception of like maybe like a few times, like anytime they said, I need a place to stay, like they come to my place. I've had each of them live with me before, except for Janelle. Like, you know, we've all taken care of each other. Like if one needed this, we gave this. We needed this, we did that. Like that's just how it was. So I don't know. We weren't really a drag family. We were like a gay family.
Yeah. So lastly, like what's coming up for you besides you have the album? Like plug yourself, what's going on, like what is coming in the future?
My OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding. For me, I'm really just working on my album. I have a lot of collaborations coming up. I'm finishing a song that I'm finishing up a song with Shay, which I think will probably come out around All Stars 5. We've actually been working on the song for 2 years, and we kind of swept it under the rug for a while. And then I found it, and I was like, girl, we have to do this. And she was like, bitch, let's do it. And I was like, and I'm also working on a remix to a song of Widow Von Du with Monique Hart. So we're collaborating on
epic.
It. So that should be fun. I love Monique's voice, so this would be really interesting.
Oh, love her voice, love her.
Also, I think people really sleep on Widow. I've known about
and we had this conversation.
I've known about Widow for years, and like I performed with her in Kansas City, and I've always loved her music. Widow is such a great rapper, and she's such a like bad bitch. And like, you want to know something? I appreciate her because she's so authentic and real to who she is.
Yeah.
And you want to know something? Widow is not for the weak. Like, she really is not for the weak. And I think that, unfortunately, there's just, you know, there's just a lot of weak bitches in the surrounding areas. And what happens is that they can't take when a bitch is real.
Yeah.
Widow is real. And like, I just love that. I was watching a video of her like going off on somebody like recently where she was like,
yeah,
black ass bitch, suck my fucking dick. Da, da, da. I was like,
I think it was the Instagram live. Like she just like popped off on live while she was doing her face, and then she was just like, "I fucking stand."
I was like, "Girl, this is real." Like, I hate it when people are just poised. To me, that's not relatable. Like, girl, go home. But yeah, we're doing a song for Widow. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I did, and it's a plug. And I'm working on my album, obviously. I have so much shit. I'm doing so many features for people right now. I might have like overwhelmed myself. I just did a song for this Brazilian artist that I can't talk about, but it's really, really, really cool. And I've never in my life have I in one verse rapped in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, and I did. Girl, I literally was like back and forth going on Zoom chats with my Brazilian fans, and I'm like, am I saying this right? Am I saying this right? And like they got me together, so it was cool. And then when I was done with the track, I sent it to I was showing some of them on Zoom, and they were like, perfect. They were like, killed it. And I was like, But I literally start off that verse, and my first two lines are, I say it in Spanish, and my first two lines are, uh, "Sabes que soy coronada," which says, "You know I have a crown."
Okay,
Uh,
bitch, work.
and it says, "No, thank you." Then it says, "No puedes cogerme sin nada," which really literally means if you don't got nothing, you can't fuck me.
Oh, I'm so excited for all of this. Like, thank you so much for doing this. Like,
No, thank you for having me.
it's been so great. What are your socials so people can follow you?
So my address is, no, I'm kidding. So you can find me on Instagram at Aja the Queen with a KWEEN, and my Twitter is Aja Queen, spelled regularly QUEEN, because sometimes we do that. And Spotify Aja, iTunes Aja, Apple Music Aja. Like I'm everywhere. Like stream my music because that's my merch, or you can buy my merch at Aja Queen KWEEN.com. Uh, yes, she has a website, and and you can also book me at management at ashaqueen.com. Cause why? Girl, ain't nobody getting booked right now. It's the quarantine, but child, yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
And your OnlyFans link? I'm joking.
Bitch, I keep thinking, I'm like, I'm like, I want to. First of all, my boyfriend would kill me. He's like, absolutely not. But I was like, I want to make an OnlyFans where all I do is twerk and take artistic nudes. But then I was just like, girl, if I did that, people will subscribe and then be mad, and then they'll be like, we thought you were gonna be fully naked.
Just being a tease.
I mean, absolutely.
I
But
fucking
also, like, I feel like I literally just like I didn't even realize how many people's OnlyFans I had subscribed to because I was trying to support everyone. Every time somebody would be like, "Here's my OnlyFans," I'd be like, "Okay, subscribe, bitch. Like I'm supporting you." And then,
yeah.
girl, when I saw that monthly charge come out of my card, I was like, "I love y'all, bitches, but I supported y'all for too long. Unsubscribe." I was like, "I love y'all, but nobody's subscribing to me right now, bitch. I need to get paid too." Girl.
Okay. So thank you so much. It's been so great.
No,
Hopefully,
thank you.
hopefully you can just come down to South Africa and surprise the girls.
Yes, wait, where are you?
I am in South Africa. I am currently in Johannesburg in South Africa.
I was supposed to go there in Cape Town.
Why are you telling me this now?
I was
like,
supposed to go there last October, but when we were trying to book it, they had the tea is that they had booked. They didn't have booked the flight that I was supposed to take for like the two flights that we were looking at. They had booked all the fucking first class seats, and I was like, girl, no tea, but I'm not flying all the way to South Africa, not in first class. So I was like, this thing, we're gonna have to reschedule. But after this whole COVID nonsense is over, bitch, I will be in South Africa. I'm trying to find a way to what I really want to do is find a way to this may sound terrible, but I'm trying to find a way to compartmentalize my queerness for like a trip. And I really want to do is I really want to take a trip to Nigeria. And
yeah.
like I know it's like not really safe to be queer out there, but like I want to go and like I just want to like dive into like I want to go places like where my roots lie, but like that I know that I can't go, and I want to explore. And there's only so much you can really learn about cultures online.
Yeah.
I want to like go see shit, but now I'm also scared that like if I go to these places, like because I also kind of want to go to Egypt. I'm scared that like I'm gonna get kidnapped or like somebody's gonna try to feed me like something crazy. Girl, but then again, I probably would eat it anyway. I went to China and I ate everything in sight, girl. I went to some restaurant and it was just like chilies. I love spicy food. So I was like, let me tell you something. You know how people make the joke like, oh, don't drink the drinking water, you'll get a parasite about some place. So I had a parasite and bitch, I was hospitalized for like 2 weeks. Girl, I literally got back. I filmed my little Starbucks gig, and then literally I got to New York, and I was like, ugh, and bitch, I was in the hospital looking in the mirror, and I was like, Wait a minute. I was like, hold up. I was like, who's that girl? Like, I was like, bitch, that's me.
A parasite does the body good.
Girl, I'm about to order one on fucking the dark web because we foreign, honey.
Bitch, capitalize on this time right now. Come back looking sickening.
Bitch, they're gonna gag. They're gonna be like, bitch, how many ribs does she have? I'm like, count them. Bitch, I'm gonna be like, you've never seen a barbecue like this before. Bitch, full ribs on the rack.
On the
Like,
rack.
Just full ribs on the rack and on the back. Bitch, watch. They're gonna be so pressed.
Oh, I fucking stand.
Girl, I am just a nonsense. Like, my life is nonsense.
I mean, I'm pretty much like, my siblings like hate me because I'm pretty much a crackhead. So
Me. Sometimes me and my boyfriend, we exchange crackhead hours. So when I'm being a crackhead, he's just looking at me like, and then when he's being a crackhead, I'm like, so, I mean, but once there's occasionally we overlap crackhead time. And that's when
dangerous.
We're both like a mess. And then there's times where both of us are just so chill that we're probably dead.
So fucking crazy.
Oh, yes.
Alrighty, so cheers. I have to disappear right now. So.
Have a good night.
Again, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Be safe.
Cheers. How do you end this thing?